Did Tom Izzo cross the line? Let's take a look and make sure you check out the article coming later today at ScoutWithBryan on Twitter. We'll have a full piece. Let's take a look at the video evidence first of all. First, there's an argument going around that there's no evidence that Aaron Henry did anything wrong and he didn't make any mistakes and he was playing perfect all game. Not true. All right, let's take a look at this play from the first half and keep this in mind because this is going to be the same action that Bradley runs later in the game, and we're going to come back to this. In this clip right here, Aaron Henry's man is getting out to the weak side corner, and what's going to happen is you see on the dribble handoff, the handoff guy is going to roll, first guy is going to pop. Aaron Henry, weak side, he can stay in a little bit longer to take this layup away. He can stay in with the big and then get out to the shooter later. Instead, he gets out right away, giving up a layup. So once again, this guy can hold him up a little bit more before getting out to his, but Aaron Henry also should have a foot in the paint and be on the help line and see that pass and take that away. All right, second half, right before Izzo goes off. Okay, we talked about Aaron Henry getting back in transition. Remember, Izzo didn't name only one thing. He said there was a bunch of things he was upset about, and he thought he had to jump Henry a little bit. He mentioned transition. It was not the only thing remotely that he did talk about, though. All right, so you watch Henry on this clip. This is after a made basket. This is a wide open guy right here. Everybody on Michigan State's up here. They're not communicating. They're not talking. Not sure exactly, again, whose fault it is, but your instructions after a made basket especially are to sprint all the way back to the paint first. If you're not doing that, if you're up here jogging around, this is called buddy running. This is called stopping too soon. You're supposed to be back in the paint because if Bradley was alert, they'd throw this ball ahead and get a layup for this unguarded guy right here, who they just happen to miss. But I can't imagine Tom Izzo's that happy about a freshman, if that was his guy, losing him and guarding the wrong guy. And then as you watch this possession go on, I'm not sure Michigan State's exact pick and roll coverage or their exact schemes, but I've never seen anything like this. And I'm going to guess Tom Izzo probably wasn't thrilled about this either. Aaron Henry's guarding the ball. There's no screen. He's going to get beat. And he's basically just going to leave the ball and leave the big man to guard him, but then also leave the big man's man, or at least the big who's rotating up top and is closest to him and he should just see and stay with right here, to go chase somebody in the corner away from the ball, which is going to leave the closest pass wide open for an open three that two Michigan State players have to try to scramble towards. Again, maybe Michigan State has some complicated defense I haven't seen before that was a little trick on this possession, but I'm going to guess also when there's no screen and you're guarding the ball, you're supposed to stay with the ball. You're not supposed to leave it and then also leave the closest pass. Just a lack of awareness. All right, so here's the play itself. First thing I want you to watch. Steele goes to score in transition, all right? But was not an uncontested layup. Was not easy. This is a big man dribbling the ball in transition. He's got two guys chasing him. He fumbles the ball, right? So what you're supposed to do, smart basketball, is run with him still. You never know, like this guy's doing here. In case he misses, maybe you can clean it up with an offensive rebound. You look down at the other end. Aaron Henry does not move. He's still down there. McQuaid's not great either, but Aaron Henry's still down there. Even right now, there he is. Stayed all the way back. All right, they call timeout. Everybody's excited. Now Winston's in the picture. McQuaid's in the picture. The whole team's in the picture. Family, getting together. This is the college atmosphere. This is college. Everybody's rah-rah. Be happy for your teammate. Be together. Communicate. Huddle up. All that good stuff. Where's Henry? He's getting yelled at. Might have had something to do, though, with a lack of intensity getting to the huddle. And I'll show you another angle of that to show that a little better, too. All right, in terms of this explosion, need to be restrained, maniac, unhinged. Come on. He's yelling. He points at him once. He's backing up. He's yelling. He's talking to an assistant coach saying, talk to him. Is he being restrained? No, he's not being restrained. Cassius Winston, as has been reported and as he said, is the captain of the team. He asked Izzo, Coach, let me talk to him instead. What did he do wrong? Tell me so I can tell him. That's what he's saying here. He's asking if he can be the messenger. All right, and Cassius Winston, to his credit, did a great job, and Izzo lets him. All right, this was his outburst. He confronted him once, he pointed in his face, he's backing up, he's talking to other people, he's yelling. Relax. All right, here it is again. Like I said, coming to the huddle, everybody else happy for each other, starting to sprint in. Henry was a little lackadaisical getting there. That might have upset Izzo too. All right, so when he tells him everybody's supposed to sprint to the huddle, be happy. Maybe Henry was feeling a little sad for himself, sorry about the way he was playing, wasn't hyped for his teammates. Tom Izzo, big message of his: get over yourself, play for your team, be happy for your teammates. He brings him in. He taps him for a second on the chest. He points at him for a second. He's yelling. Cassius intercedes. Come on. Much ado about nothing. He backs off. He sits down. Winston lets him. Izzo's saying again there, you better talk to him. Tell him what I want. The assistant's talking to Henry right here. This is how a family works. A family team communicates, okay? And then the other clip, which happened about 30 seconds to a minute later in the huddle. All right, he stood up for a second. Was this a hold me back, bro? Or was this in a huddle? Aaron Henry's obviously still talking about it because he's a freshman and freshmen sometimes complain or yell. Tom Izzo stands up and yells for a second. Okay? He's not trying to fight the kid. He stands up. The team says, Coach, we got it. We got it. Sit back down. We're good. We're good. Let's move on. McQuaid's telling Henry, enough. Stop talking. Move on. The assistant's saying, enough. Move on. Move on. And Tom Izzo's back to coaching. All right? Does a unrestrained lunatic just take a team, having him sit back down and start drawing up the play? No. If somebody really lost control of themselves, they'd still be snapping. They'd be mad at everybody for holding him back. Tom Izzo goes back to drawing up a play and moves on. And this is right after. They showed this on TV too. Not many people put it all together, though, in terms of the timeline. This is after they had just snapped and sat Izzo back down. You see Winston clapping. Izzo's coaching, drawing up a play. And Henry, you know what he's doing? To his credit, he's involved in the huddle. He's pointing. He's asking questions. Coaches are talking to each other. The players are all listening. This is how a team comes together. You listen, you take coaching. Okay, very next play coming out of the timeout. There's another narrative go around that Aaron Henry was, again, unhinged after. He was messed up mentally from this. Come on. All right, this is the very next defensive play. He does a great job being at the nail, stopping the ball where he's supposed to be. Switching this down screen right here. Being alert, seeing the ball as his man goes away. Having a foot in the paint, better than the first half. Getting in and getting the rebound. That's a complete defensive possession. Yes, he had a couple turnovers. He threw the ball away. That's not a result of being yelled at. Okay, this is a little too much oomph on the pass. All right, he threw the ball a little too hard. Tom Izzo's not tripping over throwing the ball a little bit too hard. He gets mad over effort or communication or not being part of a team. He's not mad at you making a pass that led the big man a little bit too far. All right, and then later in the game again, when they needed Aaron Henry, he stepped up. This was the play. Cassius Winston's tired. He gets beat to the right hand. Izzo talked about this play post-game that Cassius has given so much. He's just dead tired. So you know what? Henry covers. You see the big man step up right here to bother the shot. So Henry has to leave his man in the corner and cover down on the big, which he does, resulting in a huge block. Big-time play from a freshman. Now, remember that play from the first half. Here's the same play again. Aaron Henry's in a different spot this time. Winston's the guy that's getting out. Henry's right here, all right? Henry, though, does a great job. We remember the big in the first half didn't hold up right here, didn't hold up to the big man rolling, so they had a layup. Henry does a great job recognizing, holds up the big, then gets back out to his, finishes with a high hand and a contest. Multiple efforts, great defense. And by the way, Aaron Henry was not the only guy who got yelled at the whole game. Here's Ward being yelled at. He's a fiery coach. That's how he coaches. Cassius Winston being yelled at. And you know what? Izzo, we'll take some argument. Winston can protest too. That's okay. He talks back. He says he's giving an excuse. You see Izzo there saying, Cassius, come on. He's whiny. That's how he coaches. All right. You know what Winston does here, though? Eye roll, put your head down, whatever. Just learn to take it. Say, yes, sir, move on. All right? That's coaching. That's part of the dynamic. Yes, again, he yells. It's not the first time. It's not the last. From Mo Pete to Shannon Brown, from Zebo to Draymond, from Gary Harris to Miles Bridges, Jaren Jackson Jr., to the undrafted Bryn Forbes. I guarantee you, a guy like this appreciates now being able to handle Greg Popovich from his experience with Tom Izzo. To make it as an undrafted player in the league, to stick with Greg Popovich, you got to be able to handle coaching. You got to take being yelled at. And you know what? When you follow up a 14-15 Final Four appearance with being upset by a 15 seed in the first round and then two straight disappointing second round exits, the heat's on a little bit, right? You don't want to lose to another 15 seed. The intensity's amped up. Tom Izzo got mad. He felt he needed to light a fire under a freshman, light a fire under his team a little bit, and he did. All right? Instead of losing these games to lesser opponents early in the tournament, Tom Izzo coaches with fire, he coaches with anger, and his guys, they like him, they respond, and they're better off from it. And you know what? We also don't see the clips, despite those 5 clips of Tom Izzo being heated in his whole coaching career. You're not going to see the clips of him hundreds and hundreds of times being an educator, being a coach, talking calmly. That's 90% of Tom Izzo. Just because you see the 5-second viral clips, that's not who he is. That's just how he coaches occasionally when needs to be done. It's not the only way to coach. It's not the best way. There's other methods. There might be more successful methods at times, but there will be a time and a place for guys to get yelled at, and the guys at Michigan State know what they signed up for. Thanks for watching Tom Izzo Across the Line. Make sure you follow again on Twitter at ScoutWithBryan. Check out the whole piece coming later today for the lead right there on Twitter. And if you really enjoyed this video, please thumb up. Please subscribe. I really appreciate you watching. Leave a comment. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of March Madness.